HOA tried banning my barn parties. The sheriff showed up and DJed the last one. In the small town of Willow Creek, where the horizon stretched wide and the stars burned bright, my barn parties were the heartbeat of the community. Every Friday night, my old red barn transformed into a haven of music, laughter, and connection. Young and old, farmers and dreamers, we'd gather under string lights, swaying to country tunes and pop anthems, sharing stories over cold beers and homemade pies. I'm Lila, 28, a mechanic by day, but those nights made me feel like I was stitching our fractured town together. For 3 years, those parties were untouchable until Karen moved in. Karen, the new head of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, arrived with a clipboard and a mission. She was 50, impeccably dressed, with a smile that never reached her eyes. She'd bought the old Miller place, a sprawling property bordering my land, and from day one, she hated the noise, the lights, the life spilling from my barn. "This is a quiet community," she'd say, her voice sharp as barbed wire. "Your parties are a nuisance." I tried reasoning, invited her to join, offered to turn down the music, but Karen wasn't here to compromise. She was here to control. It started with letters. Official HOA notices stuffed in my mailbox, citing noise violations and unauthorized gatherings. I ignored them. The HOA had no jurisdiction over my land. My barn was outside their precious gated enclave. But Karen escalated, rallying neighbors with tales of rowdy youth and property devaluation. Soon, she had half the town council on her side, whispering about ordinances and fines. My parties, once a symbol of unity, became a battleground. The tension peaked one sweltering July evening. The barn was packed, the air thick with sweat and anticipation. A local band was tearing through a cover of Sweet Home Alabama when Karen stormed in, flanked by 2 council members and a petition with 40 signatures. "This ends tonight, Lila," she shouted, her voice cutting through the music like a blade. The crowd froze. I stepped forward, heart pounding, ready to defend my ground. "You don't own this town, Karen. These people need this." Her eyes narrowed, and she waved her petition like a weapon. "You'll see what happens when you defy order." That's when the sheriff arrived. Tom Hartley, a grizzled man in his 60s, had known my family forever. I braced for the worst, expecting him to side with Karen's crusade. But Tom didn't draw his badge or read me a citation. Instead, he walked to the DJ booth, grabbed the mic and said, "Lila, mind if I spin a track?" The crowd roared, half in shock, half in delight. Karen's face twisted in fury as Tom dropped a Johnny Cash remix, the bass vibrating through the barn. He wasn't just siding with me, he was defying her, too. The twist came from an unexpected ally, Mrs. Delaney, the town's quiet librarian, who'd never attended a single party. She stepped from the shadows, her frail frame trembling but her voice steady. "Karen, you claim to protect this town, but you're tearing it apart," she said. "These parties remind us who we are. You don't get to erase that." Mrs. Delaney revealed she'd been collecting signatures of her own over 70, from folks who loved the barn, who needed it. The crowd erupted, and Karen, outnumbered, stormed out, vowing revenge. I thought we'd won. The parties continued, louder, bolder. Tom even DJed a few more, his old-school playlist stealing the show. But Karen wasn't done. She went higher, pulling strings with county officials. 2 months later, a new ordinance passed, banning large gatherings on unincorporated land without a permit. The fine was $5,000 per event, more than I could ever pay. I fought it, but the county held firm. The barn went silent. The final party was a funeral for our spirit. We gathered one last time, not to dance, but to mourn. Mrs. Delaney brought her petition, now useless. Tom stood by me, his eyes heavy with guilt. "I tried, Lila," he whispered. The crowd sang softly, a cappella, as the stars watched. Karen didn't show, but her victory hung over us like a storm cloud. My barn, once alive, was just wood and nails again. The next day, I found a note on my door, not from Karen, but from Mrs. Delaney. "Keep fighting, Lila. We'll find a way. It was a spark, but not enough. I'd lost something bigger than party-as-me belief that community could triumph over control. Karen had won, not by force, but by breaking our will. What hurts most is the silence. Willow Creek feels hollow now, its heart locked away. I wonder if we could have fought harder, if I should have seen Karen's final move coming. What do you think when a community's soul is at stake? Who's right? The one fighting for freedom or the one enforcing order?